Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. My name is Joann, and I am sharing with you today this adorable Easter bunny in a spring garden wreath of beautiful pinks and orchids. The star of this wreath is a wood bunny I purchased from the Dollar Tree section at the Dollar Tree. I love, love, love this one, and I hope you do as well, and I hope you feel inspired to make this one. Welcome to all to my channel today. If you are not currently a subscriber and you enjoy this tutorial, I hope you will consider subscribing, and as well, if you would share this video with a friend or a family member, a neighbor, or a coworker, I would appreciate that. And give this video a thumbs up. And as always, your questions and comments are always welcomed. Okay, let me show you how I created this beautiful wreath with a bunny in a spring flower garden. Okay, let's look at the items that you will need to create this wreath. I purchased this bunny in the plus section, as I previously mentioned, at the Dollar Tree. It's a very nice, substantial piece. It's a good thickness. It's well made. It's straight and not bowed. That's a big plus. I'm going to be stripping off the ribbon, the welcome sign, and the bunny tail, as well as the hanger. Now, this piece is especially wonderful because it has a raised flower pattern on the wood, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. Now, I chose orchid, white, and pink for my deco mesh for this wreath. Now, I purchased this pink one, 10-inch by 10 yards at Hobby Lobby at 40% off. The orchid one I got on clearance at Joann Fabrics. And there's a bit of snowball mesh there that I had left over from other projects. I have here a 10-inch by 10 yard spool of snowball tulle. Now, instead of that, if you can't find that at Joann Fabrics, you could just use snowball mesh if you wanted to do that, or you could use that white deco mesh there with the striping on the sides, which I use that one as well. That is also a Hobby Lobby deco mesh. Every other week, Hobby Lobby's deco mesh is 40% off, and I always wait and purchase it on those weeks. Always check Joann's as well for any clearance mesh. The mesh that I purchased there is really, really beautiful. And I love the quality of Joann's mesh. Unfortunately, they are going out of business. Fortunately, if you go and take advantage of the clearances that they're going to be having, that would be a good time to pick up some of their fabulous mesh. So the snowball tulle and the orchid, I'm going to pair up in bundles. I do have a little bit of this snowball mesh, which I'm going to take advantage of that. And I'm going to create just a few bundles with that leftover snowball mesh, and I'll show you that later. But primarily, I'm going to be creating 8 bundles of the orchid and the snowball tulle, and 8 bundles of this mesh with the striping on the sides. One of my absolute favorites, adds such a beautiful visual interest to any deco mesh wreath. So each of my pieces I am cutting at 16-inch lengths. I'm going to be creating 6 more bundles out of the snowball mesh, which I mentioned previously that I'll be doing that. But I'm going to do 8 of these particular bundles. I'm going to take the curly side, face that up. I'm going to be creating woodland method bundles. I'm cutting in half some white pipe cleaners. I suggest you use pipe cleaners that match the theme of your deco mesh, the colors of your deco mesh. I'm going to roll it up 3 times on the end, nice and snug. Turn it around, roll up the other side 3 times, nice and snug. Then I'm going to stop there, place my fingers in the middle, and just scrunch down the center till I meet up to the other side. Now that's going to be half of my bundle. Same thing with this piece, curly side up, roll up 3 times on one end, clip it. You can use chip clips or clothespins or these clips from the Dollar Tree, and then just scrunch it up as I did with the other one. Now I'm going to take that bundle there in my hand and I'm going to crisscross it in kind of like an X pattern with the other piece. Then I'm going to take my half a pipe cleaner, wrap it around the back nice and snug, and twist it a couple of times. Now for those pipe cleaner tails, you want to try and have them even because you're going to use those tails to attach that bundle to the wire wreath frame, which I'll be showing you that in just a bit. I'm going to use a wreath frame from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to show you as well how to do the orchid and the snowball tool. Same way, exactly. Doesn't matter whether it's tulle or deco mesh. This deco mesh is really lovely. It's from Joann fabrics, and it's a very sturdy deco mesh. Their deco mesh comes in only 18 feet length rolls, but it's really, really nice mesh. So just be careful and don't assume it's 10 yards like Hobby Lobby mesh. But really beautiful. You can see it has a pattern to it, which I love. Very, very sturdy deco mesh. I'm going to roll it up 3 times on each side. Then I'm going to scrunch, take my fingers, go right down the center, meet up to the other side, and clip it. Now I'm going to do the same with my tulle. Now this rolls up very, very easily because it's very soft. But I love snowball tulle on a wreath. So I'm going to just scrunch down the center, just like I did the other one. Now I'm going to hold that piece in my hand, and I'm going to crisscross it in an X pattern with my orchid. Now it doesn't matter which one is on the top or the bottom. You can always mix that up as you go along. But this method of creating bundles creates very, very beautiful, beautiful bed of deco mesh for your wreath. Look how pretty that looks when it's scrunched up together. And once it goes onto the wreath, oh my goodness, so beautiful. I love Easter wreaths because I love mixing those beautiful colors, the pastels, the pinks. Oh, love it. Okay, so I am going to take advantage of a little bit of snowball mesh that I have left over on some of those spools. Now, never throw away your excess deco mesh once you create a wreath because you'll always be able to use it with another project like I'm doing here. So I'm going to pair up, I think 3 of those snowball deco mesh bundles with the pink and then 3 with the orchid. Creating those bundles exactly the same way. Now, my snowball deco mesh, I generally get that at craftoutlet.com. Love craftoutlet.com. Their prices, I feel, are good. Their deco mesh is superior quality. They have a great variety, not to mention their fabulous wired ribbons. So if you have not ever gone on craftoutlet.com, I suggest that you do and look for some of their really amazing products. Now, I have some little leftover random excess pieces. They're not 16 inches long enough to include in a bundle, but I don't discard them. I roll them up like in a scrunch pattern, and I use them as fillers on wreaths. So I would never, just discard those. Those little pieces can be utilized. All right, here we go with this bunny. Now, this is the second time I've used this bunny. I did a farmhouse wreath last year. I did this bunny in like a burlap color, and I did the white brushing over the flowers on top, and the whole wreath was burlap colors and white and pinks, and it was so beautiful. It's in my playlist. I did that last year if you want to see that. This year I'm doing a pink one, and I'm doing it differently. So I was very happy to see that bunny at Dollar Tree again. I'm showing you some ribbons here from craftoutlet.com. Adorable ribbon, beautiful ribbon from craftoutlet.com, but it's not quite the right pink. That purple or orchid is just the right color. That's the one that ended up on my wreath. Love, love. These are 2.5-inch ribbons, wired. That's another beautiful ribbon I considered for this wreath. That's a craftoutlet.com ribbon. This is another one. Look at this adorable ribbon. I am going to be using this on a wreath. Not this one, but I am definitely going to be using that really adorable ribbon. Now, I found this really pretty, sparkly butterfly at Walmart. I'm not going to use it on this wreath. I actually thought of putting a butterfly on this wreath, but that one was a little too big, and not quite right for this wreath. But very pretty. They have pretty embellishments like that at Walmart if you look carefully in their aisles in the Easter section. I'm showing you here some narrow ribbons. I am a great lover of Walmart narrow ribbons, all of which these are from Walmart. Love their ribbons. They have all different types of everything from just plain satin to ribbons like that with the stitching and with the little flowers on the ribbon. Oh my goodness, so pretty. Polka dots, everything. Love their ribbons. I'll be using a couple of those ribbons on this wreath. I'm showing you here some of those twine wrapped eggs. I love these. These are at Dollar Tree. I thought about putting eggs on this wreath, but I thought it was just a little bit too much. But if you use less florals and made room for the eggs, that would also be a cute embellishment for an Easter wreath of this type. I have there some pipe cleaners and my scissors. Now, I have a whole bin here full of florals. Oh my goodness, I am a floral hoarder, I think. But I can't help myself when I see beautiful florals of all different types and shapes and sizes. I pick them up. A lot of these are from Michaels. I love Ashland florals. So I'm going to show you here some possibilities to use for this wreath. These are from Joann fabrics. They're very, very tiny little blooms. Love, love, love those kind of flowers for fillers. This is gorgeous for this wreath. This one is, I want to say, Joann fabrics, but I think they have the same at Michael's. These little flowers I got at Joann's. Now I'm just showing you possibilities. You do you and choose your favorites. These are little baby tulips that I had gotten at Michael's. Little tiny white flowers. Love those little tiny bloom flowers for a wreath like this. That's another pretty option. I didn't use much of a medium-sized flower on here. I used mostly tiny flowers, but I did use a couple of medium-sized flowers, nothing large for this wreath, because I'm just basically creating a little spring garden of flowers that my bunny is sitting in, if you will, on the wreath. So that's supposed to be the look of the wreath, is my bunny is sitting in a spring flower garden. Okay, here's the 14-inch wire wreath frame from the Dollar Tree. Always get my wreath frames from the Dollar Tree. When I'm doing a wreath like this, I try and get the silver ones because I feel like I don't have to worry then about the green showing through or black. Okay, now I'm going to begin applying my deco mesh bundles to my wreath frame. I'm going to use the second wire from the outside and the third wire from the outside. And I just basically rotate them back and forth, zigzagging as I go. And as I apply my wreath bundles, I apply an orchid and white, and then a pink and white, then an orchid and white, and then a pink and white. And I just keep rotating that pattern throughout the whole wreath. Now, if you're new to applying deco mesh to a wreath frame, don't worry if they bobble around a little bit in the beginning. They will start to become more secure on the wreath frame the more you add your bundles. And you'll see that as you start to apply them. So I put my deco mesh bundle really firmly up against the wreath wire, and then I pull it super tight and I twist it a couple of times. And as I go, I push the bundle up against the next one, and that is how I fill a wreath frame full of these gorgeous deco mesh bundles. And you can see already how beautiful this is going to be. So I used 22 bundles on this wreath. Now, you can use and mix your deco mesh as you like. I think the more types of deco mesh you use, the better, because I think it just creates the most beautiful wreath when you have the various patterns and textures and, of course, the colors. So I did 8 bundles in the striped deco mesh with the pink. I did 8 orchid with the snowball tulle, and then I did 6 more, 3 each of the white snowball deco mesh with the colors. So I'm just filling up that wreath frame, rotating my bundles to get the best distribution of texture and color. Now, this is a very quick process because these bundles are very full and they fill up that wreath frame so fast. Look how pretty this is. Oh my goodness. Love it. Okay, 22 bundles is going to fill that up very, very well. Now, right now, what I'm doing is I'm checking my paints to see which color I'm going to use on my bunny. Now, I did consider using orchid. I did consider that, but I ended up using pink, but certainly not that pink. I'm going to create the bunny with my own pink paint, not Dollar Tree's. All right, so you can see I have a heat gun here. I have to get busy taking some embellishments off of that bunny. So the tail came off rather easily. Not quite the same story with the welcome letters. They are going to be destroyed by the time I get done with them. They're not thick anyway, so I wouldn't consider them a big loss, because they're just going to be broken apart by the time I get them off of here, because it was not that easy to do. I started off with a small spatula and then I switched to my paint scraper, but I'm using my heat gun here just to try and loosen up that glue a little bit. And then I'm just going to start placing my spatula underneath the lettering, trying to lift it off. I mean, I did try to keep it in one piece, but that plan went down the tubes real quick because it just was not going to happen. And I remember the last time I did this, the same thing happened. It's just really hard to get that welcome sign off. Now, don't worry if you are fortunate enough to be able to get this bunny in the plus section at the Dollar Tree. Don't worry about scraping up the original paint. I'll talk more about how I painted this bunny in just a minute. I want to mention that, not all Dollar Trees are created equal. Not all Dollar Trees even have a plus section. So therefore, if yours doesn't, you can't get this bunny. By the way, it's $3. I don't know if I mentioned that. But I'm going to suggest they have another bunny. And it's a nice, cute wood cutout bunny. You could use that as well and create your own pattern on that bunny. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. But also, Hobby Lobby has a real cute wood cutout bunny around the same size. And it's really cute. It has one ear bent over. But check Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree, all the Dollar Trees have that other bunny. It's a really cute cutout bunny. Maybe it's not quite as big, but you could certainly use it to create a wreath like this. Now, it won't have the textured flowers on it, but I'm going to tell you how you could maybe achieve that as you watch me paint. You could get a silk screen stencil with a flower pattern, and you could create, after you finish painting, you could create your own flower pattern on a bunny if you really like that look, which I think it's really pretty. You could do polka dots with a small round spouncer. You could create your own flowers if you wanted to paint them on. You could take a wood dowel, a small wood dowel, and dip the end in paint and create your own little flowers, a simple looking flower with circles like that all over the bunny. So I'm trying to offer you, options so that you could create something somewhat similar. Now, I painted that bunny over, if you have this bunny from the Dollar Tree, I painted it over one time completely. Then I went over the areas that I had to scrape and sand to get the glue off with it, just in those areas. Then I did one more coat on top of that. So now I have a nice, yummy shade of pink here. And again, I thought about orchid. I thought that would be really cute as well. So now I'm using Snow White Waverly chalk paint, and I'm using a paintbrush that has a little bit of a bristly end or head to the brush. And what I'm doing is using a dry brush technique to go over the top of that bunny. And when I do that, it's going to be going over those raised flowers, and it's going to accentuate them and show them up very well on that bunny. Now you have to use a dry brush and really rub it hard on, like, say, for example, a paper towel. And be sure you don't have your paintbrush loaded up with paint, or you're not going to get this effect. You want to dip your brush in your paint, then use a paper towel and dry brush most of the paint off. Then lightly, with a light hand, just go over the top of the bunny, and it will bring out those flowers that are textured and sticking up on all over that bunny. Now, if you have this piece and you get a little heavy-handed, or you get a blotch of white, maybe you didn't dry brush your brush off well enough, like I just did right there, don't worry about it, because you can go back over it later with a bit of pink just to touch up anything where you may have gotten heavy-handed. And you can see I did it a couple of times there. Little bit too heavy, little bit too much paint on my brush. So after I went over that entire bunny doing all the white flowers, then I went back over it and just touched up any of those areas where I may not have had my brush loaded up just perfectly for the task. Now, I guess I decided to work on the ears for a while. This process does take a bit of time, but I just put on, something on TV. I love to paint. So for me, I'm like really okay with that. I love a project where I really can get into the painting aspect of it. And I really enjoyed doing this bunny and bringing out those flowers on that bunny. Now, in between the flowers, I did brush over lightly with the white as well, but the primary focus was for my paintbrush to catch the raised areas that were the flowers on that piece. And I think I accomplished that. And this turns out so, so, so pretty. I remember last season when this bunny came out, I remember the moment I saw it in the plus section, I knew exactly what I was going to do with it because of those raised flowers on that piece. But I think it's such a great idea to do a flowered bunny. So think about, if you don't have this bunny, how you could create that same effect. And I think those silkscreen stencils, you could get them through any source that sells them. They also sell them on Amazon. And they have a variety of different types. I've used them before. They're very nice. They're sticky on the back. And you could do large areas of stencil with just placing it down. And then you can lift it off and put it down in another area. Or you could polka dot this bunny. That would be so cute as well. So I continued on here doing my my little flowers here with the light-handed Snow White Waverly paintbrush, covered paintbrush. Now, after I was all finished with this, I made sure that my flowers looked somewhat uniform, but I wasn't concerned about them looking all the same. Some of them are maybe a little bit heavier painted, some of them were lighter, but I thought that really added to the visual interest of this bunny. Okay, so there you have that process of painting those. Now you can see the flowers there. You see how they're raised up? Much easier to see in person than on the video, but it's really a nice effect. Really, really pretty. Okay, and here you have it. I went over my bunny, perfected anything that I wanted to, touched up anything I wanted to, and now I'm ready to put my pipe cleaner on the back, and this is how I'm going to attach it to the wreath. I just make a little U shape by folding my pipe cleaner in half. And I thought about where I wanted to place those pipe cleaners and where they would be actually resting on that wreath frame. And I knew that I wanted to place one of them right up at the top between the ears, and then one of them lower right around the belly area of the bunny. I did use a little piece of felt as extra security to hold that on. And as you can see there, I used hot glue. Now I'm doing the one at the top because the first thing that I'm going to do, which obviously I have my deco mesh on, but now what I want to do is place my bunny on there exactly where I want it. And I'm going to begin creating the flower garden that the bunny is going to be resting in. So I go about doing this by arranging my deco mesh. Now I want my bunny not to sit flat on top of the wreath, but kind of down in it just a little bit. So you can see I'm pressing it down there. Now I'm going to pull my deco mesh out from the underneath. I leave some of it under there, but most of it I'm pulling out. And I want to arrange those little deco mesh curls around the bunny. So I carefully go around the piece after I attach it, which by the way, that's what I'm getting ready to do here. And I did that off camera because I had to put my head over the top of the wreath in order to accomplish that. So I didn't think you needed to see that. And I just twisted those pipe cleaners onto the wreath frame, and now my bunny is attached. Now you can see I'm going around my bunny. See how I pulled out the curl there and arranged it? You want it to complement the bunny. So now, this flower garden where my bunny is going to be sitting is going to consume an area of like, I want to say 8 o'clock all the way around to 4 o'clock, or vice versa, however you want to say it. I put my bunny tail back on because I actually like that bunny tail that came on that bunny from the Dollar Tree. It's a furry bunny tail. I love it. Now, I do want my bunny tail to show as my bunny sits in that spring flower garden. All right, now I'm going to begin to gather my flowers. These are baby tulips, very appropriate for an Easter spring wreath. I only had one daisy, but that's fine. I'm going to pop that on there. Those white flowers there I just placed, those are from Hobby Lobby, and they are one of my absolute favorite flowers from Hobby Lobby. So generally, I like to incorporate that into anything floral that I do. Now, I'm only going to need small pieces for this flower garden, so I'm going to take my wire cutters and begin snipping off small pieces of all of the florals that I intend to use on this piece. So I'm going to be doing kind of like a dry run, so to speak, and just kind of placing them around before I begin any process of hot gluing. Now that's that little white baby's breath from Walmart. Very pretty for this wreath. But I only need small sections. So there is going to be a considerable amount of hot gluing here because I'm going to just be using a lot of small pieces. I love, love, love that floral there. That was from Joann's with the little pink flowers. So, so pretty. Definitely using that. Definitely using these tiny flowers, but I believe those are from Michael's. They also have some like that at Joann Fabrics. Or I guess it's just called Joann's. It used to be called Joann Fabrics, so I have a tendency to keep calling it that. Okay. So now I have my pile of flowers, of which I'll probably add more to that. But I just want to focus on the bottom of my wreath here. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be consuming an area from 4 to 8 o'clock. Now, this is a fabulous greenery to use for this wreath. Yes, we do need some greenery. That is from Hobby Lobby. I always purchase my greenery at Hobby Lobby. This one comes in a small bunch. It's very delicate and feathery. My very favorite greenery, which I always purchase at 40% off every other week. Now, I do, as I mentioned, want some greenery in this garden, if you will. I'm just going to keep calling it a garden. So, I'm going to just snip off any of my excess wire there. Push my greenery up on the wire to get the most I can from that particular stem. And I'm going to be for sure placing some greenery on each side, but I will be placing some sprigs of greenery in the center as well. I knew I was going to put my little orchid tulips on each side of the bunny tail. These are little baby tulips. I wouldn't use large tulips. Those would probably be, regular sized tulips would probably be too big. You're going to have to stay with smaller florals for this project. So now I'm snipping off a lot of those little pink flowers, and I really used quite a few of those in here. Now, of course, what florals you use is completely up to you. Mix it up as much as you like. Maybe you want yellows in there or purples. So you do you, and you choose your florals. as you like. Just remember while you're applying them to try and create a balance. Try and create symmetry and visual interest. Trying to distribute your colors. When you see a little empty spot, fill it in with something, greenery or a single bloom or a couple of blooms. Now, on my piece, as I applied my florals, some of my florals and some of my greenery I had pointing upward because I wanted it to look like the bunny was sitting in a garden. Some of my florals off to the right and to the left, I pointed outward. And then toward the bottom of the wreath, or around the lower part of the wreath, I pointed some of my flowers and greenery downward. Some of it, right in the center, was straight in. Now, I hope that makes sense, because basically what I'm saying is you want your greenery to point in different directions. Some upward, on the lateral sides or the outer sides, you want them pointing outward, and then toward the bottom of the wreath, add a few pieces that are pointing downward. This will fill everything in very nicely. You can really see how those orchid pieces really added something. Now notice that I'm keeping my little bunny tail visible. I'm okay if a little bit covers it up, but I definitely wanted the look of the bunny tail in the piece. So I kind of constructed my flower garden around that, but I did surround the bunny tail. Now I'm showing you here, this is the area that I'm covering. See how I pointed those flowers downward? And there's plenty of places to attach them. All of that deco mesh, all those little spirally curls of deco mesh, very easy to pop your florals in there. Use a little bit of hot glue at the base. I promise you they will stick very well. And then as you go and fill in your florals, you have all of your florals to hold your pieces of greenery and florals as well. Look how pretty this is. See how I distributed my flowers? You see how I placed greenery all around the garden or the piece? And there's my bunny tail, just like I wanted it. Don't forget those pieces at the bottom, very important to round that out. And your greenery on the sides as well. So you see this was very easy to do. Just takes a little time and patience. Step back from your wreath, hang it up, look at it, see if it looks balanced and symmetrical. Okay, I am going to put something at the bunny's ear. And I decided on these 2 ribbons from Walmart. I love the white. I'm going to open it up here and show it to you. Look how pretty that is. It's a beautiful satin ribbon with that gorgeous pattern on it. I just thought, wow, what a great ribbon for visual interest. Okay, so I'm going to create a figure 8 bow. So I'm going to fold it under, pinch it in the center. I left a little bit of a tail, I want to say about 3 inches. And then I fold it over on the other side and pinch it. Now I'm going to take my 26 gauge floral wire that I got from the Dollar Tree. Love this wire for small bows. It's very, very fine wire, and it's very easy to conceal it because it is such a fine wire. I put it around the center, twist it in the back to hold my loops. And this is what I call a figure 8 bow. And I'm going to bring my tail down to match it up with the other tail. This is very, very easy to do. Now, maybe you have a method of creating small bows. So, you do you, but this is the way I do it. And I call it a figure 8 bow because it looks like a figure 8. Now, this is going to be the base. And I like that it's the size that it is. It's going to look very cute sitting up at the base of the ear of my bunny. Now, because I use so much orchid on this wreath, I thought I would use an orchid satin ribbon. This one is more narrow. I'm going to do the figure 8 again. I fold it under, pinch it, fold it over, and pinch it. Now I'm going to take another piece of wire, wrap it around the center just like I did the first one. And then I am going to hot glue both of those bows together, matching up the center, aligning them perfectly. Now you can as well, if you prefer, you could wire those two bows together. Really doesn't matter. The hot glue works just fine as well. Now I'm going to need a center for my little bows. So I decided I was going to take some of those very tiny, tiny floral blooms and create a little bouquet in the center of my bow to place at the ear of my bunny. And this is going to look so, so cute. These are both Offray ribbons. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but those are definitely from the Dollar Tree. I'm sorry, Walmart. You know what I wanted to say, though, about Offray ribbons? I do see those at the Dollar Tree. Sometimes you can find that brand of ribbon, and I really like those ribbons. I don't really think that those little tiny spools that you pick up at the Dollar Tree are worth $1.25 because there's very little ribbon on them. But they do carry Offray ribbons. I do see that there. But for the most part, I go to Walmart for my ribbons of that brand. And they have plenty to choose from at Walmart. Oh boy, do I love, love, love this little bow. So pretty, right? Okay, now I'm going to choose my florals, very tiny ones. I'm going to use, I think, just a couple of those pink flowers, some of those teeny tiny little, very tiny little blooms from that stem from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use those, which I don't know where those came from. And I think those were Joann's, but you can also get those at Michael's. You need just very, very tiny bloom flowers for this. So with a little dab of hot glue at the base of the stem, I am going to create my little bouquet of flowers. Now you can put as much or as little as you like in here. If you prefer not to have flowers, you could always just put a little piece of ribbon, wrap it around the center of that bow, and glue it in the back. But I really think that this little flower bouquet really added something to this bunny. So maybe you will consider doing that. So yes, a little bit tedious putting these little tiny flowers in here. But again, I can't stress enough, these little details add so much to a piece. Always worth the time. I'm going to put a couple of those little pink flowers in there just to kind of pick up the pinks in the rest of the wreath, as well as the bunny, of course. So I'm just going to continue putting my flowers in there, balancing out the colors. Okay, now that piece is going to be hot glued right to the bunny's ear. I did try it in different locations. I tried it on one ear, then I tried it on the other. I tried it at the neck of the bunny, and I ultimately decided to put it up at the top, at the base of the ear. See how pretty that is? Oh my goodness, love it. Okay, now I am going to be gluing that to the base of the ear, and I'm showing you there. You could put it at the neck if you like, which is cute actually, or you could put it at the base of one of the other ears, and I guess I decided on that one. What I love about that bunny is it almost looks like, reminds me of a lace. I just love that flower pattern on that bunny. And if I did not have that bunny, I would seriously think about using those silkscreen stencils and using white paint, maybe a white chalk paint, a snow white, and just stenciling the flowers on there. I think it's such a beautiful look. Okay, so it's bow time. I am going to put a bow on this bunny wreath. Now, that ribbon wasn't quite the right pink. This one, absolutely adorable. Love, love, love it. But I didn't have any of that tealish color on there. So it was between these two, and I really deliberated which one I was going to use. I ultimately decided on the polka dot. And this ribbon is so pretty, and I wish I could remember exactly where I got it. But I am thinking I got this from Craft Outlet. They have great ribbons. They have lots of polka dot ribbons. The ribbons are high quality, beautiful fabric ribbons. And this one is a beautiful fabric ribbon, my absolute favorite to work with. They're very sturdy. They last well on the outdoors. They're wired, and it's 2.5 inches. I'm going to put a 14-inch tail on this bow. Now, I usually mix my ribbons on a bow, but this wreath has a lot of focal points on it. The bunny being one, the flower garden. So I didn't think I needed to do, yet more, if that makes sense. So I decided to stay a little bit more modest with my bow. I created 10-inch loops. This is the manner in which I always create my bows. I fold over my loops, pinch it in the center, twist it, so I always have the right side of my ribbon up. And I'm just going to do a 4-loop bow with a loop going right down the center. Now, this is a very simple bow for me for a wreath, because if you follow my channel, you know I really love to create mixed ribbon bows and bigger bows. But this one I felt was just right for this piece. So I'm going to put a full-size pipe cleaner down the center, twist it in the back to hold my 4 loops together. Then I'm going to twist my ribbon, and I'm going to shape a loop right down the center by just simply rolling it under, placing my thumb on that rolled under little loop there. Take my pipe cleaner from around the back that I used to secure the 4 loops, pull it back, twist it in the back, and my bow is secure. So now I have one of my tails on the top and one on the bottom, so I'm just going to marry those tails up, cut them at the same length. And then I'm going to take that tail on the top, do a gentle fold, pull it right through that center loop, and now I have both of my tails on the bottom, and I have my bow created. Now, these tails, after I made the bow, turned out to be a little bit too short to put through that deco mesh. So to attach it to the wreath frame, I'm angling my tails here, as you can see. So what I ended up doing was using a full-size pipe cleaner, popping it through that center loop. Then that gave me more length in my pipe cleaner tails to reach through that deco mesh and attach it. Now, I attached it at around 4 o'clock. Look how beautiful that is. Picked up all of those beautiful orchids and that it's almost a purple, but kind of an orchid. Whatever, it's pretty. Okay, so I'm going to take a full-size pipe cleaner, put it in a tear shape, and attach it to the wreath frame right between the ears underneath that deco mesh. I am loving this piece. I think it is so, so pretty. Let me know what you think of this one. I absolutely love, love, love it. I hope you feel inspired to make this one. I hope you can find the bunny, but if not, I gave you alternatives. Find a wood cutout bunny and create your own look using these basic principles. Okay. Remember, if you're not currently a subscriber and you love this bunny wreath and you like this tutorial, remember to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, share this video, and as well leave me your comments and tell me what you think of this one. Okay, until next time, you all take care.